Ayu Petreny. Hai semuanya, apa kabar? Selamat datang di Ayu Petreny dan Matt. Saya tadi melihat berita-berita yang sedang viral di Indonesia. Salah satunya adalah tentang channelnya Sule Channel, tentang nawar mobil Andre sampai Andre ngamuk. Saya sendiri bukan ahli mobil, tapi nonton video ini kemudian saya ingat kalau di Hongaria itu harga mobil jauh lebih murah dari di Indonesia. Kebetulan suami saya itu bisa dibilang seorang penggemar mobil juga dan sedang nonton TV, jadi kita panggil saja, kita tanya-tanya sebentar. Katanya mobil ini ya ditawar Sule 200 juta nggak dikasih. Dia bilang ditawar Raffi Ahmad 800 juta aja nggak dikasih, yang wow mahal sekali gitu. Nanti kita tanya Ayah Matt, kalau di sini harga mobil seperti ini kira-kira berapaan gitu. Ya saya nggak bisa bilang dengan kondisi yang sama persis seperti itu ya, karena kan tiap mobil itu beda, kondisinya beda-beda, tahunnya beda, tapi mungkin kita bisa melihat dari mobil yang jenisnya sama dan juga tahunnya hampir sama. Pasarannya berapa kalau di sini? Oke, sebentar. Ayah, can you please come here and help me? We're making video about cars. Matt, biar main sebentar. Ambil kursi.
Hi doggy.
Kamu main Super Mario. Are you a petrol head? What?
Well, I guess you can say that I like cars. I grew up with cars. I always like Formula 1.
Can we say that you are BMW expert?
Expert? No, I'm not sure, but I know a few things about them. No, I wouldn't say I'm an expert.
Are you a fan?
Not anymore.
Not anymore. Sudah pensiun. What kind of car you like now?
I've changed. Well, I kind of like Subarus.
You switch sides.
Yes.
Okay, but today we will be talking about BMW. I hope it's okay.
Yeah, of course.
So this video is trending in Indonesia. I think it's very funny. So this guy wants to buy this car. He offered $20,000 for this car, and of course the owner got so angry. He said,
"Is that USD or SGD?"
SGD. We're talking about SGD. And then the owner said somebody else offered 80,000 SGD, and he didn't even want to give it. So I don't even know what car this is. I think this is BMW because of the logo, but I can't tell the type and everything. Let's just watch, and then can you tell me what car this is?
It has nice wheels though.
Oh.
Yeah, well, there you could see it was written 325i.
BMW 325i. And then is this like luxurious BMW or the most expensive or what? I'm sorry, I don't know.
So I wouldn't say I'm such a big car expert, but the 3 Series is, well, at least from this year, this looks like it's from 90s or even older, maybe from the 80s, this car.
They said 1988.
88. Yeah, so I think back then probably it was the smallest. Now they have the 1 Series and 2 Series, but I think back then probably the 3 Series was the smallest. From this era, actually, I don't think this 325i was very special. I mean, I'm not sure what the smallest was back then, 316 or 318. Actually, my dad had a 318.
318.
He used to have a black 318, which looked very, very similar to this, with spoilers and everything. It looked very sporty.
Black, not red.
I think it was black, yes. As I
But your brother has,
dark blue.
Isn't it also BMW?
He has a BMW 325
like
as
this?
well, coupe, but its newer is from 2006, so it looks completely different.
This also has 2 doors, you see?
Yes, yes.
So
yes.
your brother has the same like this, just newer.
The
descendant of
the sun.
Oh, every time I see you.
Much newer. 18 years difference.
Yeah. So, is this very expensive car in Hungary?
The only thing that's special about this is that I guess it's not the most basic engine that you have in it, because it's a 325, not a 318. But what is very special from this era is the M3, the BMW M3, which looks probably very similar, but it has different engines, a lot more sporty and so on, and that's the most desired car.
Okay.
So you can buy a 325 like this, looking very similar. Of course, not in this condition.
This is very.
But actually, you can buy one from $3,000.
So it starts from $3,000.
Yes.
Around that same year, similar year.
Yeah, 89 if I'm not mistaken. From
okay,
89. It's around $3,000. I think there was one which was in much better condition.
So $3,000 wasn't such a good condition.
Yeah, probably. I can imagine that you would have to spend some money on it. That was $12,000, but even that looked a bit strange. It wasn't in original condition. The problem with these cars is that for us, they are just cars, not really special. It's just people bought this to travel.
Yes. Not collectible.
Not really. While the M3 is. The M3 is their best version of the 3 Series. And I saw that there was only one on sale, which is from 89 also, if I'm not mistaken. And it's $75,000. That's
$75,000. And this one, he was offered $80,000 and he still turned it down.
Yes, but because this is a 325,
the normal one,
at least here, I don't think it's worth that much.
But the thing is, I think car price in general in Indonesia is much higher than here.
Well, especially continental.
Yes,
cars, I guess.
We consider all European cars, especially BMW, as like very high quality.
Yeah, well, for us, Germany is very close, so there are lots of Audis and Mercedeses and BMWs, and for us they are not that special because that's what you go out in the street and that's what you see.
Right, everybody has BMW.
That's our Toyota, basically.
And then, but if you want to buy this old car, I guess, even here, it has to be second-hand, right?
Well, yes, of course, most likely.
I think European people don't mind buying second-hand cars. I think it's okay.
It's completely normal that you buy. People also say that as soon as you leave the car showroom, your car is losing 50% of its value.
50%?
Well, of course, it's an exaggeration, but just because you have driven out from the showroom, it's a second-hand car and it's worth much less. So usually cars depreciate the most in their first 3 years, 2-3 years, which means if you buy a brand new car, you will lose lots of money in the first few years.
Right.
And that's why people prefer buying second-hand car, because those won't lose their value so much anymore.
That's right, yeah.
So probably the best is buying a 4, 5, 6-year-old car, which is not too old yet. Maybe there's still warranty on it, but you don't bear that loss. Because it's not new anymore.
I think people here are also very thrifty, I think, about cars. So you can even buy second-hand car from different country. In Indonesia, it's like difficult.
Well, because of your geographical location, of course. But yeah, here it's very common. I mean, Germany is just 8 hours drive from here, so it's very easy to import cars from there.
And then no tax problem, nothing. It's okay.
EU and everything, so yeah, it's easy to buy for us to buy cars from abroad. So very often Germans buy their nice shiny cars, they bear the cost, and then they just sell it off to some Central or Eastern European dealer, and then that's how these cars get into our country.
Did your brother also buy from another country, the BMW?
No, actually he bought it from a Hungarian, but I don't know whether that Hungarian bought it here. I'm not sure about that.
Okay.
But for example, our car is from Italy.
Yeah, wow, imported. But again, I guess every country is different. I think car prices in Asia are a lot higher than here. For example,
crazy taxes.
Yes, if you buy brand new BMW, approximately, do you know like how much will it cost?
I don't know, we can check it, but I think if you just want the most basic
Without
BMW without anything
anything,
extra, I'm sure you can get it for $35,000-$40,000.
And in Indonesia, probably you can get a Toyota for that price.
As I said, that's our Toyota.
Yeah. You go out on the street, you will see, what is this again? 325 everywhere, I guess.
Yeah. You don't see M3 very often, or M4.
How do you know if it's M3? It should be written somewhere.
Yes, so if you are looking at the older versions of the M3s, then they very often look like the basic 3 Series. They just put spoilers on it, they lower it. It looks a bit meaner. I don't know, maybe they are even widened, I'm not sure about that. But I think it's very easy to make a 3 Series look like an M3. For later generations, I know that, for example, on the latest M3, M4, and I think even the previous generation, there's a hump on the hood, which you can do only if you replace it. So it's not just a sticker. You can just put it on it. It's probably more difficult to make a current 3 Series look like an M3.
Sometimes not very often, there are Indonesians coming to Hungary, going to live here for a few years. Usually they will ask me questions. Also about cars usually. Is it safe for them to buy second-hand cars?
Well, be careful. People say very often is that you buy condition. You have to look at the car's condition, in what condition it is. Don't buy a brand, don't buy, I don't know, the name. People like to look for cars which don't have many kilometers in them. And the problem with that is that sometimes the dealers will just turn it back to make it look like it doesn't have so many kilometers. So that's why you have to check the condition of the car. So check the steering wheel. If you can see that it's already shiny because it's been used so much, then that's suspicious. You have to check whether there's rust on it and so on. It's also a very good idea actually, and I think most dealers are fine with it. You can take the car to a mechanic and they will do a basic check on it. They will lift it, make sure it wasn't crashed and so on. They can measure whether it was painted or not. They measure the thickness of the paint, so they can tell whether it's been crashed or not. So you have to be careful because very often these, for example, from Germany we import cars, we import BMWs, and then they just turn back the clock and then it looks like, oh, it's brand new, and then actually it wasn't very new, or maybe it was already involved in a crash.
We don't know.
Yeah, so you do have to be careful, but I don't think that you can trust, for example, a private seller more than a dealer, because they can be tricky as well.
But I heard that the dealer will give you like 1 year warranty even though this is second-hand car?
By law, yes, they have to.
So
they have to.
But for private owner, they won't, right? Or they will still?
I think they also give 6 months or something like this.
Okay.
But of course they will argue that if anything is wrong with the car, it happened while it was at you. So that it's very difficult to prove that actually the car was broken before it was sold.
Yeah, I guess so. And also, does every car owner need to buy insurance for the car? Because in Indonesia, I don't think.
It's a must, yes. Fortunately, that's quite cheap. Well, compared to Singapore, for example, it's quite cheap. So I think maximum $200 to $300 you can get insurance.
That's okay, yeah, reasonable.
For a year, yeah, and I think the tax is not bad either. It's also reasonable.
Owning a car is okay.
It's relatively cheap if you don't have to fix it. Fixing it can be expensive.
So just buy.
So it's not a bad idea to set aside some extra money in case something goes wrong with the car. Plus, you might have to buy new tires, or you will still have to take it to mechanic for regular oil change, and things like that. But actually, owning a car is not that expensive here, and I think it's quite common that many people have a car.
Even
expats, 1 or 2, or
they will stay here for 4 years. They still have a car, even if it's not the most expensive, not luxurious, but it's a car, and then they can quickly sell it when they move.
Yes, again, if you buy a second-hand car and not a brand new car, then it won't lose so much value. We also bought the Opel Corsa for grandma for $4,500.
Oh my gosh, yeah. In Indonesia, I think you can get like 25-year-old car.
No,
really.
Wait, we bought a think it was 7 or 8 year old when we bought it, something like this.
So it's cheaper than
he
in
never had any problem with it. It's been working fine since then. And how old is it now? 14 years old. But actually, you can't retell it. It's in very good condition, I think. So yeah, you can be lucky with it.
But in Singapore, I think people prefer buying new car because every 10 years they need to change, right?
Yes, the COE is a problem. Plus, it's also a status symbol.
Yeah.
So you want to show off to your neighbors. So that's different.
Well, this is in very good condition. I'm not saying it's bad. It's just that this type of car in Hungary or in Europe in general, this is...
I'm sure this is still very special in Indonesia.
Of course! Any BMW is just...
Yes. Here, maybe not so much. M3 is really the collectible one. So it has already reached such a status and such an age that I think some people will buy it, keep it in the garage, just so that its value will increase.
And yet, you have switched to another car. You are not a fan of BMW anymore. But that's another story.
Yes.